Sherman of California. Thank you.
I have a lot of questions for which I'd just like a response in writing, and then I'll end with one that I'd like an oral response from. First, I want to commend the administration.
I'd actually hoped to encourage dialogue if the gentleman would.
Had the opposite effect, Mr. Chairman.
I'm responding to Sherman's policies.
I'm happy to listen to an hour worth of questions, and
Yes.
we'll respond.
I want to commend you for the action regarding Ebola. I want to be the first, or one of the first, to commend you for the administration's approach to Iraq and Syria. We kept chemical weapons, or got chemical weapons, out of the area. Otherwise, they'd be in ISIS's hands. And we repelled attacks on the Haditha Dam, the Mosul Dam, and most importantly, Baghdad, all without any U.S. combat casualties. Now, a lot of people throw out other ideas. You should have done this, you should have done that. Maybe they would have made things better, maybe things would be worse, but I'll tell you this, every one of those other strategies would have resulted in an awful lot of American combat casualties. Your strategy has done more without casualties to Americans in the service than any other strategy could have. As to the Trans-Pacific Partnership, you say it shouldn't be a race to the bottom, but Vietnam is 30 cents an hour. That is the bottom. And we're told that we're going to get free access to the markets of Vietnam, but they don't have freedom and they don't have markets. They were told that there's going to be labor rights for Vietnamese workers. They don't dare assert them because the human rights situation is such that they risk their own lives. So I hope that you don't tell, I mean, 30 cents an hour is the bottom, and that's what we're racing to. Also, as to China and this Trans-Pacific Agreement, with the rules of origin in our other agreements, goods that are 50, 60, 80% made in China can then go to another country, get slapped with a tag, and come into the United States duty-free. The chairman raised the Broadcasting Board of Governors issue. I just want to raise one small part of that, and that is how important it is that we broadcast in the Sindh language. I think I mentioned this to you before. This committee has voted to spend $1.5 million a year to do that. And there's no population in the world more important to world stability than that of Pakistan. There is no place where there are more crazy ideas than Pakistan. And if you're trying to reach a population, you can't just do it in Urdu. As Senator Kerry, you champion recognition of the Armenian genocide. We now are about to have the 100th anniversary, and I would hope that you would show the courage that you are personally known for, and on April 24th, use the word genocide to describe what happened in Anatolia 100 years ago. In your earlier testimony, you said that Iran is not permitted to have a nuclear weapon ever because they're members of the NPT, unlike North Korea. North Korea was a member of the NPT. They withdrew in 2003, and I'd hope you'd clarify for the record that North Korea is not entitled to have a nuclear weapon, and that Iran does not become permitted to have a nuclear weapon should they, at some future time, decide to withdraw from the NPT. I hope that you would furnish for the record a statement that our position is, once you're in the NPT, you cannot get out. Otherwise, every country is just one letter away from being permitted to develop nuclear weapons. You've talked about 1 year to break out. What I'm concerned about is how long to sneak out. The MEK sometimes gives us accurate information. They're the ones that told the world about the Iranian nuclear program. They now say that there's a secret facility at Lavanzan 3. One approach is well, what I'd like to know is, are you willing to accept an agreement in which the IAEA does not have the right to go anywhere on short notice to look at undeclared or potentially undeclared or credibly believed to be undeclared nuclear sites? Or are we going to settle for the cat and mouse game in which you can tell us it's a year to break out and the Iranians have undisclosed facilities and we can't even check them out? I'd ask that you be allowed to answer that for the record.
Do we have time? left.
I hope you have time for that one last question.
We'll do the last question, but we'll need to keep moving. We only have 5 minutes for each member, and we want to get as many as possible. So go ahead with the
Well,
the
let me
last
just
question.
say, clearly, Iran does not have a right to step out of the NPT and then go. And if they began to do that, we will hopefully, and this is part of what is being negotiated, have the ability to know immediately if there's any movement in that direction. And then we have all our options, as I said, that are available to us. Going a step further, on this secret facility, we're well aware of the accusation or the allegations regarding that facility. It will obviously have to be, any questions would have to be answered to have any kind of an agreement. And I think people should rest assured that will take place. And on the IAEA, we are negotiating for the appropriate standards and process that the IAEA needs in order to be able to answer appropriate questions. That's a critical part of compliance with any NPT country, and there is a process, as you know, that is required in order to achieve that. So that's obviously part of the negotiation.
The additional
Mr. Chris Smith of New Jersey, Chairman of the Subcommittee
Thank you very
on
much, Mr.
Africa and
Chairman.
Global Health. Thank you.
And I want to thank you, Mr.